You ever hear someone say, just walk more, it's the best thing for you? And for years, that was the advice, wasn't it? If you had aching joints, low energy, or just felt a little off, people would tell you to walk it off. Take a stroll, get your steps in. And while that might have worked wonders when you were 40 or 50, something changes after 70. Doesn't it? Your body doesn't bounce back the same way. You don't recover as quickly, and that long walk that was supposed to make you feel energized, it ends up leaving you feeling more tired, stiff, and sometimes even worse the next day. Now, I want to be very clear before we dive in. This isn't about saying walking is bad. Walking has its place. But if you're over 70, doing too much of it, or doing it the wrong way, can actually speed up some of the very things we're trying to prevent. Joint pain, fatigue, muscle loss, even inflammation. And that's not just my opinion. Doctors and movement specialists are now sounding the alarm because they're seeing it firsthand. Older adults pushing themselves to walk more and more, thinking they're doing the right thing, when in reality, it's accelerating the aging process instead of slowing it down. So in this video, I want to talk with you about what's really going on here. We'll look at why walking too much after a certain age might actually be hurting your body more than helping. And more importantly, I'll share what you can do instead. Simple movements, daily habits, and smarter ways to stay active that protect your joints, boost your energy, and help you feel younger, not older. Let's start with something many people overlook, your recovery time. When you're younger, you can go on a long walk and feel fine the next day. But after 70, your muscles need more time to heal. Your joints need more care. And if you're walking an hour a day because someone told you it's healthy, but you wake up every morning with sore knees and a tight back, your body is telling you something. It's not about being lazy, it's about being wise. And wisdom is one of the greatest gifts of aging. Instead of forcing yourself into a routine that doesn't feel right anymore, it's okay to shift toward what does work for your body now. See, after 70, the name of the game is preserving energy, not depleting it. Your muscles aren't just for movement, they're your body's energy factories. When you overuse them without giving them time to recover, they start breaking down instead of building up. That can lead to fatigue, weakness, and that sluggish feeling so many older adults describe, even if they're trying to stay active. Here's the surprising thing many people don't realize. Walking is a repetitive, high-impact motion on your joints. That's especially true for the hips, knees, and ankles. Over time, the cartilage between your bones starts to thin out. It's just part of aging. So when you're walking several miles a day, or pushing to hit those 10,000 steps, your body's absorbing shock over and over. For someone with healthy joints, that might be manageable. But if you've got even the beginning signs of arthritis or a past injury that never healed quite right, this repeated stress can accelerate joint wear. That's where the pain creeps in. That's where inflammation builds. And that's when walking stops being a gentle exercise and starts being a strain. Now don't worry, I'm not about to tell you to sit around all day. Movement is still incredibly important, but the type of movement matters even more as we age. It's like tuning a radio. You've got to find the right frequency. And that brings us to something I think is far more powerful than just walking joint-friendly strength and stability exercises. These don't have to be complicated. You don't need a gym. You don't need to lift heavy weights. In fact, some of the best movements you can do involve just your own body. Things like slow leg lifts while holding onto a chair for balance, gentle squats that don't push past your comfort zone, arm circles, shoulder rolls, and seated resistance exercises using light bands. These help strengthen the muscles around your joints, so you get more support with every movement. You're not just walking to stay mobile. You're building the structure that keeps you mobile for years to come. Another thing to keep in mind is balance. Walking doesn't do much to improve balance, but as we age, balance becomes one of the most important things to protect. Falls are one of the leading causes of injury for seniors, and most falls don't come from weakness. They come from a momentary loss of balance. So instead of walking longer, spend a few minutes each day working on balance. Stand on one foot while holding onto the kitchen counter. Practice slowly getting up from a seated position without using your hands. These little things may not seem like much, but they add up, and they build a kind of strength that's far more valuable than logging extra steps. Let's also talk about inflammation, because that's another piece of this puzzle. When you push your body too hard, Especially with repetitive movement like walking too much, your muscles can become inflamed, your joints swell, and you feel it, don't you? That stiffness in the morning, that deep ache in your legs. It's not just old age doing that. It's often your body's way of saying, hey, I need a break, I need a different kind of care. This is why so many doctors now recommend a mix of movement styles: walking, yes, but also stretching, strength work, and low-impact cardio, like swimming or cycling. These help keep the body in motion without overloading the same areas day after day. And let's not forget the role of rest. As odd as it sounds, rest is just as important as exercise. Maybe even more so after 70. Your muscles rebuild while you rest. Your nervous system resets. Your immune system kicks into high gear. So if you've been taught that more movement is better, it's time to rewrite that script. It's not about doing more, it's about doing what's right for your body and giving it the time it needs to heal, rebuild, and thrive. Now that we've started to unpack some of the ways walking too much can work against you after 70, it's time to explore what else you can do to stay strong, energized, and independent without wearing yourself down in the process. So if you've ever felt like you're doing everything right, getting your steps in, staying active, following advice you've heard for years, but still ending up exhausted, achy, or even a little discouraged, you're not alone. A lot of folks in their 70s and beyond are starting to realize that what used to work for them doesn't quite fit anymore. That doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong. It means your body is asking for something different, something smarter, and honestly, something gentler. One of the best shifts you can make, especially after 70, is to move away from thinking more is better and start thinking in terms of better is better. It's not about how long you can walk or how many steps you rack up. It's about how well you're moving and how you feel afterward. Because the truth is, a short walk that leaves you feeling refreshed and limber is far more valuable than a long one that leaves you drained and sore. And when we reframe our mindset this way, it opens the door to activities that support our bodies instead of wearing them down. A great place to start is by looking at variety. When you only walk for exercise, you're repeating the same motion over and over. Your feet hit the ground the same way. Your hips rotate the same way. Your knees bend at the same angle. And while that consistency might sound good, it actually puts repeated stress on the exact same joints. Over time, that's what causes the little twinges in your knees or that tightness in your lower back. But when you introduce variety into your movements, when you mix in things like stretching, light resistance work, or even simple yoga, you give your muscles and joints a break. You move them in different directions, engage them in new ways, and suddenly everything feels more balanced. You don't have to be flexible like a dancer or strong like a bodybuilder. That's not the goal. What really matters is function. Being able to get up from a chair without groaning, reach for something on a high shelf without pulling a muscle, or walk around the grocery store without needing to sit down halfway through. Those are the real victories. And you can absolutely improve those things, even in your 70s, 80s, or beyond, by training smarter, not harder. One type of movement I always encourage for older adults is what I like to call joint-loving exercises. These are simple, low-impact movements that strengthen the muscles around your joints and improve circulation without putting strain on your body. Things like water or books or chair yoga. Even gentle Tai Chi, which is especially helpful for balance and coordination. These kinds of exercises aren't just easier on your body, they're more nourishing. They help your blood flow better, reduce stiffness, and even boost your mood. And let's not underestimate the power of breathing. I know it sounds almost too simple, but when was the last time you really checked in with your breath? So many of us, especially when we're feeling stressed or dealing with pain, end up taking shallow breaths. That can actually increase tension in your muscles and raise your blood pressure without you even realizing it. Just taking a few minutes each day to breathe deeply, in through your nose, out through your mouth, can calm your nervous system, reduce inflammation, and give your body a break from that constant tension. Now here's another thing we need to talk about: inflammation and how it plays into this whole conversation. Because when we overdo any kind of repetitive motion, including walking, it can lead to chronic low-level inflammation. And the tricky thing about inflammation is, it's sneaky. You might not even notice it right away, but it shows up in ways like swelling in the ankles, stiffness in the fingers, brain fog, digestive issues, even trouble sleeping. And over time, that inflammation can accelerate the aging process from the inside out. That's why it's so important to pay attention to the quality of your movement. Think of your body like a garden. If you overwater it or give it too much sun, it doesn't grow faster, it wilts. But with the right balance of sunlight, water, rest, and care, it flourishes. Your body works the same way. It needs movement, yes, but the right kind at the right pace in a way that supports healing and strength rather than wear and tear. And part of that support includes building strength, not just for the sake of muscles, but for the sake of stability. When you strengthen your legs, your core, even your arms, you're creating a foundation that makes every other movement easier. You can walk with better posture. You're less likely to trip or stumble. And maybe most importantly, you feel more confident in your body. You trust it. And that trust can change everything, from the way you move through your day to how you sleep at night. I remember chatting with a woman in her late 70s who told me she used to walk for an hour every morning. Rain or shine, she was out there. But lately, she found herself getting more and more exhausted afterward. Her knees were starting to hurt. She didn't feel refreshed. She felt worn out. So she switched things up. She started doing 20 minutes of gentle strength exercises 3 times a week and short, mindful walks around the block on the other days. She added in a little stretching before bed and spent more time simply moving throughout the day in little ways, standing up and sitting down a few extra times, rotating her arms, bending gently to pick things up, and the difference, night and day. Her pain went down, her energy went up. She felt like herself again. That's what this is all about. Feeling like you again. Not forcing your body into some routine because someone said it's the healthy thing to do, but listening to what your body is actually asking for, giving it variety, giving it care, giving it a rhythm that supports your strength, your independence, and your joy. And here's something else to think about. Movement isn't just physical, it's emotional. It affects your mood, your confidence, even your sense of purpose. When you feel strong and steady, you carry yourself differently. You smile more. You look forward to the day instead of dreading the aches and pains. That's the kind of aging we all deserve. Not one full of limits, but one full of choices, where you get to decide what feels good, what brings energy, and what keeps you moving forward with grace. Let's keep going and talk about a few more powerful shifts you can make that protect your joints, improve your mobility, and help you age not just gracefully, but vibrantly. One shift that really makes a difference as we age is learning how to befriend rest, not as something passive or lazy, but as a powerful form of recovery. You see, rest is not the opposite of movement. It's actually a part of movement. It's the time when your body repairs itself, when your joints get a break, and when your muscles rebuild stronger than before. But so many people over 70 still feel guilty about resting. They say things like, I need to keep moving, or I'll get stiff, or if I slow down, I might not get going again. And I completely understand where that fear comes from. But the truth is, strategic rest, when paired with the right kind of movement, actually helps you move more freely and feel more energized. Think about how you feel after a good night's sleep. Everything works a little better, right? Your thoughts are clearer. Your mood is lighter. Your body moves with less resistance. That same kind of restoration can happen during the day too, when you pause to stretch, when you sit in a comfortable position with proper support, or when you practice a little bit of mindfulness and deep breathing. Those moments are like tune-ups for your body. They help it recalibrate and come back stronger. I once spoke with a gentleman in his early 80s who told me something that really stuck. He said, I used to feel proud of pushing myself through pain. Now I feel proud when I listen to what my body needs. That wisdom didn't come overnight. It came from years of trying to force his body into routines that worked decades earlier, but no longer fit the man he'd become. When he finally gave himself permission to rest, really rest, he started feeling more vibrant than he had in years. He still moved every day, but with a softness, a sense of care, and that mindset shift made all the difference. Another powerful tool for movement after 70 is focusing on balance, not just physically, but in your daily routine. When we're younger, it's easy to pack the day with chores, errands, long walks, and think nothing of it. But as we age, our bodies respond better to a rhythm that includes active time and quiet time, movement, and stillness. Think of your day like a symphony. It has high notes and soft ones, energy, and calm. If every note is loud and intense, the music becomes overwhelming. But when you have that balance, everything flows. This balance also applies to how we care for our joints. Your joints are like hinges on a door. They work best when they're lubricated, supported, and not overused. And while walking in moderation can be a great way to keep them moving, too much repetitive walking, especially on hard pavement or uneven ground, can lead to more wear and tear. That's why it's important to listen to the subtle cues your body gives you. A little ache that shows up every day is your body whispering, "Hey, something needs to change." The goal is to catch those whispers before they turn into shouts. That's where gentle strength training comes in. I know the word strength training might sound a little intimidating, but it doesn't mean lifting heavy weights or hitting the gym. It can be as simple as using resistance bands at home, lifting light hand weights while seated, or even using your own body weight for resistance, like standing up from a chair slowly and with control. These small movements help build the muscles that support your joints, especially in areas like the hips, knees, shoulders, and lower back. And the beauty of it is, the more muscle support you have, the less pressure ends up on your joints when you walk or move throughout the day. And you know what's even better? Strength training also helps with posture. When your muscles are stronger, especially your core, you naturally stand a little taller. Your spine is better aligned, your breathing improves, and your balance becomes more stable. You're less likely to trip or fall. And let's be honest, standing tall just feels good. It gives you confidence. It reminds you that aging doesn't mean shrinking or becoming invisible. It means you carry the life you've lived with dignity and grace. Now, as we wrap up this conversation, I want to remind you of something really important. There's no one-size-fits-all plan when it comes to healthy aging. What works beautifully for one person might not be right for another, and that's okay. The key is to be curious about what your body needs right now, not what it needed at 50, not what your neighbor swears by, but what feels good and supportive to you today. Maybe that means shorter, more mindful walks paired with gentle stretching. Maybe it means taking an afternoon rest without feeling guilty. Maybe it means trying out a Tai Chi class, even if you've never done one before. Give yourself permission to evolve, to shift, to honor the season of life you're in, not by pushing harder, but by tuning in more deeply. Because aging well isn't about fighting time. It's about working with time, listening to your body, giving it what it needs, and remembering that energy, mobility, and strength are absolutely within your reach. They just may look a little different than they did 20 years ago. You are not fragile, you are adaptable, and with a few smart changes, you can continue living with purpose, confidence, and joy. So if you've been thinking, "I guess I just have to slow down," I want you to know that slowing down isn't the same as giving up. In fact, slowing down can be the start of moving more freely, more intentionally, and with more energy than ever before. Let this be your gentle nudge, not to walk farther, but to walk smarter, not to push through pain, but to protect your joints, to embrace new kinds of movement that help you feel younger, not older. Your body has done so much for you. It's carried you through decades of life, through love, loss, laughter, and growth. Now it's your turn to care for it with the same love and attention it's given you all these years. If any part of this message resonated with you, if you felt the strain of doing too much walking, or you're ready to try something that supports your aging body in a healthier way, I'd love to hear from you. Share your experience, or even a small change you're thinking about making in the comments. Your story might just encourage someone else who needs to hear it. And if you found this helpful, don't forget to like the video and subscribe for more conversations like this. We're all walking this path together, and there's nothing more powerful than sharing wisdom and support along the way. Here's to living with energy, grace, and strength at any age.